Man, this thing is so much fun. I don't want to sell it. Oh shit. Man, this thing pulls. This thing feels faster than my G35. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Eric, and in today's video I'm gonna go ahead and fix the Nissan Sentra because I'm gonna unfortunately sell it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install some lowering springs and fix up some of the issues that this vehicle has, such as installing a new valve cover gasket and changing out the spark plugs. So right here we have the Nissan Sentra. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the ride height right now without the springs, and then afterwards I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how it looks with the lowering springs. So this right here is the stock ride height on this vehicle. Now it doesn't sit too high off, but some lowering springs could make it look a little bit nicer. The lowering springs that I have for this vehicle are Tane lowering springs, so I'm gonna go ahead and install those and see how this vehicle looks. Like I mentioned, I'm also gonna go ahead and change out the valve cover gasket and the spark plugs. And then there is some little parts in the inside that need fixing, such as like the mirrors, the visors. Those need to be replaced, so I'm gonna probably head out to the junkyard and try to get those. And then after that, I think I'll give it a good wash, fix up the headlights, and post it up for sale. Now I did see some smoke coming out of the rear end, and I'm not sure if it's a blown head gasket, but I'm hoping it's not. I'm gonna go ahead and take out the valve cover and see if there's any oil possibly getting into the spark plugs and, you know, causing it to misfire, causing it to run rich. So I'm hoping that's what it is, so that I don't have to replace the engine, because I'm probably not going to do that. But yeah, this vehicle has cold AC. The tires are in okay shape. They will need to be replaced, so I'm hoping that I can get my money back and some. So I have the Sentra back in the garage. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery because I'm going to remove the valve cover and the coil packs. Now, looking at these coil packs, there is a lot of oil coming out of them, so the valve cover is probably bad. I know for a fact that that's like $170, so I don't know if I'm going to replace that. I might have to order it online, depending on how much the dealer is asking for it. But I definitely need to change that, because most likely that's why it's misfiring, and maybe that's why it's burning a lot of oil. Who knows? And then I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up the engine bay because it's pretty dirty. And I think the alternator shouldn't be touching the header right there. So I'm gonna try to see if I can adjust that so that it's not touching. And other than that, basically I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up the headlights and change the oil. And this right here are the lowering springs that I'm gonna be installing once I'm done doing everything else. I'm pretty sure this is not how this is supposed to be. So I definitely need to change this valve cover. So this is how the top of the engine looks. It actually doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit dirty from the dirty oil, but it actually looks like it's in okay shape. Now, for having 222,000 miles, I think it looks good. And I think what's going on here is that this engine was replaced at one point. These engines don't last that long, so I don't think this is an original motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up and then install the new valve cover. Now I did go with an aftermarket valve cover because the dealership wanted $170 for their original Nissan valve cover. So I think that's a little too expensive for something I'm trying to flip. I'm going to change the oil, and then I'm gonna put the valve cover on, and then we'll go ahead and change the springs. I did buy a valve cover, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean the top right here before I install it. These are the spark plugs that I took out of the Nissan Sentra. There is some corrosion built up onto them, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace them. Now, I am going to be replacing them with my G35 spark plugs, which are copper. Now, these guys are, I believe, one step colder, which here in Arizona, it's actually a good idea to do. I'm going to be replacing these right here and installing in 4 of these and see if the vehicle performs any better. So now that I have the valve cover installed, I'm going to go ahead and jack up the vehicle and remove the springs so that I can install the lowering springs. And then I'm going to just make sure that everything's good, make sure that the pads are good. And I think I'm going to take off the Brembos and put P11 stock calipers on. So kind of have a giant roadblock in front of me. This is the stock spring off of the Nissan Sentra. Now, what I ended up doing was removing the nut from the top because I didn't want to compress the spring and deal with everything that comes with that. So everything was fine. The spring came out, but I was looking at the piston right here on the shock absorber, and it's not going up at all. If anything, it's very minimal. So this shock absorber is no good, and that's the same thing on the other side. So I should replace these before I install the lowering springs. So I might have to do that before I put those on. So I'm gonna order front and rear shock absorbers and go ahead and install them. So it's been a few days later. I ended up buying 4 new shocks for the Nissan Sentra. So what I'm gonna do now is remove the old shock and install the lowering springs on all 4 sides. And then after I do that, I am going to remove the Brembo calipers and install some stock calipers so that I can keep these guys. Hey guys, so it's the next day. Right behind me I have the Nissan Sentra. I did go ahead and finish installing the lowering springs and the knee shock absorbers. It does handle a lot better. I'm gonna give you guys a walk around just so you guys can see how much it lowered it. Now, spoiler alert, it doesn't look like it lowered it at all, but I guarantee you it did drop it an inch or so all around. So yeah, hopefully the camera can pick up that it actually did drop the vehicle about an inch or so all around. It looks a little bit better in my opinion. I needed to replace the shock absorber, so I figured I might as well lower it down a little bit. I did get these Tane lowering springs for like 40 bucks, so I figured it might make the car look a little bit better, and it might sell faster. So you guys can see that I did remove the Brembo calipers. That might backfire on me, but we'll see how it goes. I do need to give it a final wash before I take some pictures of it, but this is basically how the vehicle is going to be when I sell it, and then I'll post the picture in my YouTube to let you guys know when the vehicle is sold. Now, the vehicle is running 10 times better with the new spark plugs, but it still smokes a little bit out of the tailpipe. So I'm hoping that if I drive it a little bit longer, that will clear up. I don't think it has a blown head gasket. It hasn't overheated. The oil was nice and brown. So I am not sure why it's still smoking, but time will tell what it is. So for now, this is pretty much going to be it for the video. If you guys like this type of content, comment down below so that I can know that you guys are enjoying it. If not, I'm probably gonna still put it up because, you know, I gotta make YouTube videos one way or another. So I do appreciate it when you guys give the video a thumbs up, and when you comment. It does help me out a lot. So make sure you guys keep doing that. And also, if you guys are not following me on Instagram, go ahead and check it out at Eric's DIY Garage. Now, before I let you guys go, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you guys like what you guys saw. And I'll see you guys on my next one. Peace out.